Ladies and gentlemen, now I take great pleasure in introducing you to our first keynote speaker, Mr. Ravi Rajendran, the founder and CEO of Qik Meeting. I would now like to call upon Mr. Ravi Rajendran, the founder and CEO of Qik Meetings, to be giving his keynote address.
I'm Ravi. I'm the founder at Qik Meeting. I graduated from IIT Madras, and I've been an entrepreneur since the last 13 years. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've founded multiple companies. This is the 4th company that I'm starting. And with that, quickly, I just wanted to talk about Qik Meeting. Qik Meeting is a hybrid business communication platform that we have developed, which kind of completes the entire communication spectrum and ensures that the enterprise is ready for the next digital era. So a context-driven meeting platform which can basically organize any type of meeting in your organization and which can handle online, offline, hybrid, VR, AR, and any type of futuristic meetings in your organization. So Qik Meeting, we have 3 things that are very unique and way we position our company. Being a presence in globally, we are actually deviating from the norm, and we have created 3 innovations within Qik Meeting. The number 1 is the space agnostic meetings, which by mean that anything can be a meeting, right? The meeting that, when I talk to a few gentlemen here, that's a meeting. When you take up your call and do the next call, that's a meeting. And let's say you're sitting in your office meeting somebody, that's called an in-person meeting. And then obviously, we all know what online meetings are. So the idea behind creating a product is that we can actually kind of encompass all kinds of meeting, right? And also look at futuristic meetings, which I'm going to take you through, and that's called space agnostic meetings. The number 2 is the meeting data itself. If you see, most of the meeting data is right now is only based online meetings, and you may have a recording of the online meeting that is there. But what we are doing with this application is that we kind of transform your meeting data, even the minutest of the meeting data details, and bring it to you in a more organized and structural manner that will be useful to your organization in a secure manner. And the third thing is that we bring in lifetime experiences. What do I mean by that? When I say lifetime experience, the meeting that I had with the gentleman here, and let's say it went on to become the meeting where I actually met him online next, and then again an in-person meeting, and thereby the entire experience of my journey with that gentleman and maybe his team is actually captured in a single point. And that's what we call as a lifetime experience, and that's what we bring in this unique. And mind you that these are 3 unique innovations that have never been experimented before, and so I just want to bring you that. So just want to kind of take you down through the regular online meetings that we all know are all aware of. So if you see, there's a study where you can, it says that the 50% increase in the productivity in the initial time with the video meetings, and there is also 65% of all the remote meetings are only audio enabled, and there is 71% of the companies that actually say that it's a daily requirement now that you somehow go into online meetings as well, even after COVID. So now the era of the hybrid meetings is on, right? So what we have in hybrid meetings is basically we are clubbing some of the online meetings and some of the people joining from a conference room, and now the conference room are enabled with hybrid meeting softwares where you are given the things in a way where you can see the people sitting, some of the people sitting in person and some of the people meeting in online scenarios. And this is the next generation that we are seeing now. And there's a lot of innovation there that is happening, and there are a lot of companies, even bigger companies like Microsoft, are investing into this. And if you see, it basically dramatically changes the way we were doing the meetings earlier, gives you a new perspective of the meetings and all, right? So the one that I'm running through now is called the space agnostic sense of the meetings, right? So how can there be no limitation of the space when we are meeting, right? So it's not just the online meetings, right? There's different types of meetings that I'm taking you through. So in the future, right, I know some of you might have heard about metaverse, where a lot of, you can actually buy spaces in metaverse. The Facebook Meta is actually a great example of a metaverse. And then like you can actually, there's a real estate being happening there and all that. And there are meetings also happening in the metaverse, right? So we want to be there and make sure that you're able to do VR meetings in the metaverse. Now, this is the next gen, right? Like, this is, there are a lot of other meetings, right? For example, augmented reality meetings, right? Where you put on a goggles and you can actually see the other person in front of you and do it. And again, a lot of companies that are investing their next generation of meetings into this so that you can actually be anywhere and do a meeting which is more realistic. And then comes the holographic meetings. In fact, one of the things that we are investing a lot into things is holographic meetings where, for example, you're driving in a car and there can be a co-passenger who is a hologram and you are able to even drive as a companion with the other person, just the holograph being there, right? So it can be the future where in like 10 years down the line, you may see holograph coming into your cars and other devices as well. And it can be in your office as well. And this is the next generation, and obviously this is going to be enabled by the 5G revolution that's going to happen. And then there is a bunch of other things that I want to take you through. And one of the things is the importance of the meeting data in the organization, right? So for example, as you do every meeting and as your team does every meeting, today the problem is the data of the meeting is most likely to be lost and doesn't make any sense, for example, to understand what's the last 100 meetings that you have been doing or your team has been doing, right? So for example, just imagine the last 100 meetings that you and your team actually went through, right? And there's no way to recollect it. This we call as the complex meeting problem. And that is what we are addressing. That is what we are actually solving, right? Where how can we really track the data of these 100+ meetings or maybe 1,000+ meetings that have happened and ensure that you make sense of the data and make it accessible for the next decision making that you're doing, right? So that's where we are investing a lot, and we've been developing technologies to further that. So the most important thing is to identify the key moments in a meeting and what kind of assistance that will be helping you during a meeting. And for example, assistance that can help you find a document that you really require in a meeting, the data that has been already communicated during the last few meetings, and also consolidating the meetings across various times, right? Like the past meetings and making sure that it is available in a structured manner. So within a no time, you're able to understand. Let's say you skipped a meeting before, and then you come to the next meeting, but you're able to understand the data, right? So that's something that is very crucial data that we are actually providing back to the customers. Again, a lot of tools, a lot of apps that will be coming in this space, which will help you down the meetings. And one of the key factors is that it is not just during the meeting. In fact, if you see, the way we were trained during the COVID era is that you are sharing a link with somebody, and they're joining the link, and once you leave the link, everything is done, right? You don't have the data with you back. Everything about that meeting is lost. The next meeting you do with the same person, you actually invariably share a new link, which is not a very idealistic scenario to do, right? Because the meeting that has happened should be the place where you should have been meeting, and you don't need to actually share a link. And that's something, we are solving the problem as well. Now coming to the meeting AI, right? So there's a lot of AI tools that are coming into meetings. Many of the tools are into, for example, transcriptions. There are a few companies that are investing a lot in terms of minutes of the meeting. How do you consolidate in different languages the minutes of the meeting and give it back to you so that it's easy for you to take away and no need to type that or no need to have that somebody typing for you. So that's something we are also investing and actually working on the AI tools that are for live transcriptions and other things. Now, the next biggest thing that will obviously happen during the next few years is going to be better scheduling, right? So obviously, right now, a lot of people need some kind of an assistant to make sure that day is worked out and how it can be planned out. But there are going to be tools in the future, the AI assistants, which will actually schedule everything for you, right? And so we are, again, one of these very important scheduling tools in terms of AI we are bringing in Qik Meeting, which again kind of tracks you the meetings, helps you, identify when is the next meeting from the transcripts and things like that. Yes. So what are we trying to solve here, right? So I've just taken through the space agnostic meetings and the meeting data perspective. As a quick meeting, what we are doing is we are actually solving the business communication problems for the enterprises, right? Why is it necessary now more than ever? Because after pandemic, if you see, there is a lot of change in the way we communicate within the organization. There is a lot of disturbance. There is a lot of turmoil that happened after the COVID. And as we all know, we are actually adopting, in a lot of other ways, using a different bunch of tools now. And that's exactly where, Quick Meeting comes into play, where with a single tool, you can actually solve all your business communication problems. So the fundamental basis with which we built, Quick Meeting is, on security, right? What we enable for enterprises is to make sure that their data belongs to the enterprise itself and nothing else, right? And no one else can access it. And so that's something some of the biggest players couldn't able to do it. And that's something we can enable for enterprises, where your data is actually, we call it as data cocooning, right? It's basically cocooned into a fragment where your data cannot be accessed by anyone else because it's encrypted and stored, right? And then the next biggest thing that is happening is the hybrid meetings, and that's exactly what the space agnostic meetings that we are providing and enhancing the meetings for the enterprises. So this is the need where we are solving. We wanted a secure, laser-sharp, human-centric hybrid meetings platform that can effectively marry to the existing business communication tools, and that's what we do in Quick Meeting. And what is the global opportunity? This is the market size of the meeting space. If you look at the total addressable market, it's more than $42 billion in terms of the meeting space and in terms of what can be captured by 2027. And if you take just the serviceable addressable market, it is about $22 billion, and we are hoping to become a $2 billion company. And now, just coming to the, this is going to be a little more of my product pitch, so next 5 minutes. So what do we solve, right, in Quick Meetings? What are the current drawbacks of why not existing tools, why not existing scenarios, why not existing meeting tools that you're using in your organization, why not them, and why Quick Meeting, right? Quick Meeting is, solves these following problems, right? For example, traditionally built, meeting tools are all video conferencing tools. What do I mean by that, right? So if you're actually doing a Zoom call, you're not doing a meeting, you're just going online. You're just enabled to go online. It was never built to handle meeting or meeting data. But invariably, because of the COVID, because we didn't have an options, we were limited by the quality products at the time, we were invariably pushed towards using a meeting, Zoom as a meeting tool. But it is never meant or built for meetings. Same thing goes with Teams. It's a group chatting software. Same thing goes with a bunch of other things. So what these are some of the drawbacks that I'm going to lay down. And then again, the meeting data problem that I already talked about. And then the old link sharing pattern, right? So why do we need to share a link? Do you remember sharing link for any other thing except for the meetings? Because this is the generation we are only sharing meeting links, right? But is it really necessary that we need to share the meeting links, right? So that's something we solved. And most importantly, purpose-driven meeting context, right? Which means that, for example, I'm meeting a person, I have a context in my mind, why I'm meeting that person, take that forward and solve that along with him, right? So that's something we have taken very seriously and solved it. And, switching between the meetings, right? How long do you take to go from one meeting to another meeting? Let's say it can be an online meeting. In fact, there's no in-person meeting concept at all in the current meeting tools. So how do we switch between meetings, right? How tough is it to switch between meetings? In Quick Meeting, it takes less than a second to actually switch between the meeting. I'm not joking. It just takes less than a second to switch between the meetings. And that's fast. You can actually switch because all your meetings are available at your fingertips. And you can move from one meeting room to the another meeting room within no time. And that's something we have also patented in India and US as well. Now, obviously, there's Zoom bombing and other things that some of you might be aware of, where there are a lot of security concerns that these tools provide, and that's something we have addressed right from the day one. Now, what is our specialty, right? So we offer something called a meeting room, right? And there is one online meeting room and there's something called an in-person meeting room. And you can actually switch between them in a click and make sure that, let's say if you're meeting an individual in this conference, you can actually create a room between you and then take it online at a later stage. So there's a QR code scanner when you create a room and you download the Qik Meeting app. You can create a meeting room and then you can actually expose your QR code. The other person can instantly join that meeting room and then you can later on convert that into an online room and continue our discussion there, right? So there's bunch of tools that will enable to do that. I'm going to skip the video. Then you have workspaces, availability calendars, and one-on-one meetings that will enable you to organize all types of different types of meetings in Qik Meeting. And then it's one of the best schedulers that we have created, which gets integrated into different Outlook and into Google Calendars and all, and which enables you to, kind of create meetings, not just meetings, but meetings with agenda, right? So that's the agenda, and this is our patent technology. So 5 important aspects why Qik Meeting is important in your organization. It straight away improves your productivity, right? It improves your productivity by over 300%, right? Just the kind of communication problems that you have in your organization, that can be solved, and your productivity of your entire teams can actually increase by 300%. That's something we guarantee, right? And the second thing is everything in Qik Meeting is real time, right? Which by mean that any action that is done in the Qik Meeting is actually in real time communicated with all the other users, right? So it enables you to, for example, there's a meeting room that you created with bunch of 5 people, and then you add another 5 people. All the other 5 people will also be added to all the other 5 people, right? So in that sense, it is completely real-time enabled, and any rooms that you create are instantly shared without any refreshing or any kind of sort of things, right? So it is enabled in all the apps. So you have Windows Store, App Store, and you have it in the Play Store. And you can download it for your MacBooks and Windows, and you can download it for your iPhones and Android devices. Then it is fully featured, right? And it has a bunch of apps. For example, you can chat over there in a meeting room. You can take notes. You can do to-dos. You can actually assign the to-dos to somebody. And then you can also add files, you can also add recordings, and you can do whiteboarding and a bunch of other tools that we are integrating with other apps. And most advanced security is enabled, as I mentioned, for your enterprise, and it is at the highest level of security that we have enabled this. The last thing is the scalability and efficiency that which we bring in the meeting room. For example, a meeting room where you're doing with 10 people, it's at least 3 times more in terms of efficiency, it is 3 times more efficient than a Google Meet room or any other meeting room out there. So what it does in terms of for your employees, right? Like per employee today, if you want to invest into a bunch of these tools, it'll be costing you roughly around $100. And it also kind of, replaces your, let's say if your organization is still, using WhatsApp kind of a software, it'll also replace that, right? So it's going to replace a bunch of tools, and it'll going to save about $100 per employee. And today, as an offer, we are giving it to companies at just $1 per employee, right? So that's something you can utilize as well. So some of the key customers for us. And this is the next generation of device that we are building within the organization, which has a projector and a video conferencing and all, which gets integrated into your Qik Meeting. So you can have this installed in your, in your desks. And this is again, 6 months down the line. We are in the R&D stage right now. So just wanted to give a glimpse of it. And thank you so much for listening to me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ravi Rajendran. That was a very, very empowering session, I should say, because this is something that's been made in India and moving a step closer towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. I've made up my mind. I'm going to be using Qik Meetings, and I'm going to advocate it very strongly. And to felicitate Shri Ravi Rajendran, I'd like to call upon Dr. K.C. Vora to please come and do the honors.